What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, two-time junior middleweight world champion, unified, WBC, IBF, WBA, Ring Magazine, junior middleweight world champion, superstar boxer, Jermell Charlo is reportedly headed into an undisputed showdown with WBO junior middleweight undefeated world champion superstar boxer Brian Castano. Brian Castano has a resume of 17 wins, no losses, 12 wins by way of knockout. He's 31 years of age. He's from Argentina, stands at 5'7.5" with a 67.5-inch arm reach. The last time we saw him in the ring was when he took on Patrick Teixeira, when Patrick Teixeira was the WBO junior middleweight world champion. And Brian Castano, he got a unanimous decision victory over Patrick Teixeira to become the WBO junior middleweight world champion. Okay, this is a mega fight in itself, seeing as though Jermell Charlo is already a two-time junior middleweight world champion. Well, now he's going into an undisputed match. The one loss, the one blemish on his resume was against Tony Harrison, and he, rectified that loss. He came back and stopped Tony Harrison in dramatic fashion in their fight. Jermell Charlo, 34 wins, 1 loss, 18 wins by way of knockout. He is 30 years of age. He stands at 5'11" with a 73-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was against former unified junior middleweight world champion Jason Banana Rosario, okay? He got a stoppage victory, knockout victory over Jason Rosario in impressive fashion. That was September 26th of 2020. Now he's headed into undisputed showdown with Brian Castano. Okay, so with that said, what's interesting about this is that reports are that also two of his former, that being Jermell Charlo, former opponents, his last opponent, Jason Banana Rosario, and his former opponent way back when, not truly way back when, but, opponent that, was pegged to, give him a lot of problems, but he felt like he was too young, in ERICKSON the Hammer Lubin, okay? He knocked out ERICKSON Lubin in the first round of that fight. ERICKSON Lubin, 23 wins, 1 loss, that coming at the hands of Jermell Charlo, 16 wins by way of knockout. He's only 25 years of age. He stands at 5'9.5" with 74.5-inch arm reach. The last time we saw him in the ring was September 19th of 2020 when he took on and beat Terrell Boucher via unanimous decision. Now it's being reported that this could be the co-main event. ERICKSON the Hammer Lubin against Jason Banana Rosario in June. We know ERICKSON Lubin has worked his way into being the WBC #1 mandatory challenger for Jermell Charlo. So the WBC is going to allow Jermell Charlo to go into this undisputed match. ERICKSON Lubin is going to be on the undercard as the co-main event with Jason Banana Rosario in June. This makes for a mega card, okay? If this truly comes to fruition, as it's being reported, this makes for a mega card because the winner, obviously, of Jason Rosario and ERICKSON the Hammer Lubin, in which I'm going to favor ERICKSON Lubin in this fight. But if ERICKSON Lubin wins this fight, he's already a mandatory. Both guys already lost to Jermell Charlo. But ERICKSON Lubin, he was pegged as being very, very young. He was very green. This fight took place back in October of 2017. That was 4 years ago. He was only 21 years of age. And that was a storyline because Jermell Charlo, he kept saying, ERICKSON Lubin needs more time. He's too young. He's not ready. And everybody was saying, well, no, he's ready. He's ready for this action. And, he made a crucial mistake in the first round and he paid for it. Jermell Charlo knocked him out in the first round. So with that said, he's placed himself in position to get the rematch that he's long been trying to get with Jermell Charlo. Obviously, Jason Rosario, he wants to get a rematch with Jermell Charlo. He was knocked out by Jermell Charlo. So this makes for a huge card because now we get to see ERICKSON Lubin. This is going to be the biggest fight of his career since the Jermell Charlo fight. Now, he had a plethora of other fights since then, big name fights. Nathaniel Gallimore, Ishe Smith, Terrell Boucher. Those are very, very tough fights. And he's proven in all of those fights, he's passed the test. With that said, Jason Rosario, he knocked out Julian J. Rod Williams in Julian J. Rod Williams' hometown of Philadelphia in a shocking turn of events, because most people thought that Julian J. Rod Williams, that was a come welcome home party after he upset Swift Jarrett Hurd in Swift Jarrett Hurd's homecoming party in D.C. So he turned around and he beat Swift Jarrett Hurd, that being Julian J. Rod Williams. Then he had his homecoming fight and he lost to Jason Rosario in dramatic fashion, was knocked out. And so then Jason Rosario went in the fight with Jermell Charlo, and he was knocked out against Jermell Charlo. Okay, now in this situation we have, that's going to be a mega fight. I'm favoring the boxing skills, the technique, the ring generalship, and IQ and the athletic ability and the versatility of ERICKSON and Hammer Lubin being too much in this fight for Jason Rosario. We saw in the fight with Jason Rosario and Jermell Charlo, he struggled with a pure boxer. He has a lot of power. He's very relentless. He's very big. But when you box him, switch levels on him, go to the body, come back up to the head, and switch levels. And ERICKSON Lubin is a southpaw with a lot of speed and a lot of power. I believe he's going to be too much for Jason Rosario in that fight. And I also believe that Jermell Charlo is going to be too much for Brian Castano. Okay, Brian Castano is going to be at a very distinct size disadvantage. He's only 5'8". He's not even 5'8". He's listed at 5'7.5". Well, Jermell Charlo is nearly 6 feet tall at 5'11". So Jermell Charlo is going to have a 3-inch height advantage over at least 3 to 4 inch height advantage over Brian Castano. And Brian Castano has a 67.5-inch arm reach. Jermell Charlo has a 73 arm reach. So he's going to have at least 6-inch arm reach advantage over Brian Castano. And the difference in this fight is that, Patrick Teixeira, he had a height advantage at 5'11.5" and a 76.5-inch arm reach. But he doesn't have the skill set, the power, and the technique and the athletic ability of Jermell Charlo. So yes, Brian Castano, he overcame Patrick Teixeira's 5'11" frame with a 76 arm reach. So he had nearly a 9-inch arm reach advantage over Brian Castano, and he had the same height advantage over Brian Castano at 3-inch height advantage over Brian Castano. And he overcame it because Patrick Teixeira, his pressure was too much for Patrick Teixeira. He didn't have the power to stand his ground and weather the storm against Brian Castano. So Brian Castano, he started to get to him, and he got a unanimous decision victory. He hurt Patrick Teixeira a few times in the fight, okay? So with that said, he is not Jermell Charlo, though. Jermell Charlo is a whole different, task at hand, okay? He is very versatile. He's very athletic. He has a lot of power. He's very technical. He's very accurate with his punches. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He can be somewhat elusive on defense when he wants to be. That's going to be too much for Brian Castano. I believe that Jermell Charlo is going to knock out Brian Castano. And I believe that ERICKSON Lubin, he may just stop Jason Rosario as well. I believe that he definitely is going to, if it goes to the decision, I believe that he's going to, his skill set, his athletic ability, his quickness, his ring IQ is going to be too much for Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario doesn't have the best defense in the world. He's a pressure fighter who's very, very big, and he has power, but he's not the most technical guy. He doesn't have the best defense in the world, and he gets hit, as we saw in the fight with Jermell Charlo. He was dropped, I believe, 3 or 4 times in that fight, okay? Now, obviously, you could look in and say, well, he lost to Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo also knocked out ERICKSON Lubin in the first round. Yes, that is true. But the difference is that, the Jermell Charlo knocked out ERICKSON Lubin. He was very young. He was very green. He made a mistake, and ultimately he paid for it. But I don't believe he'll make that mistake again. Jason Rosario, 20 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 14 wins by way of knockout. He was knocked out twice in his career. He actually was knocked out by Nathaniel Gallimore, who ERICKSON Lubin outclassed in his fight with Nathaniel Gallimore. Okay, he was TKO'd by Nathaniel Gallimore. He kept getting hit with the same punch over and over and over again, was the right hook. Okay, and the overhand right from Nathaniel Gallimore. And I believe the same will be said when ERICKSON Lubin gets in there. He stands at 5'11" with a 70-inch arm reach, and he is 25 years of age. So he's fairly young himself, okay? But we've seen him knocked out twice. We've seen him fight to a draw. You know, we've seen, you know, we know how to beat you. You know how to beat him, okay? The blueprint is there, okay? ERICKSON Lubin, some people felt like it was a punch that he just didn't see. It was a lucky punch from Jermell Charlo, and and he was knocked out. And then there's people that question ERICKSON Lubin's chin. You know, they say, well, he doesn't have the most sturdy chin in the sport of boxing. Well, it was only it was tested against in his fight with Terrell Boucher. He did get hurt in that fight. He got buzzed a few times against Terrell Boucher, and obviously in the fight with Jermell Charlo. But you know, he stands at 5'9.5", nearly 5'10", with a 74.5-inch arm reach. So he has a 4.5-inch arm reach advantage over Jason Rosario, and he's only an inch shorter than Jason Rosario, but he's more athletic. And the southpaw stance is going to give Jason Rosario, I believe, a lot of trouble. And I'm picking ERICKSON Lubin to win this fight by 10th round stoppage. Okay, but this card in itself is going to be massive should it come to fruition, and obviously it's setting up for Jermell Charlo to face the winner of Jason Rosario and ERICKSON Lubin in the rematch. You know, that's going to be huge. Okay, that's going to be absolutely enormous. This is what we was calling for from the PBC, and now hopefully it comes to fruition. And the date is being reported to be sometime in June. Hopefully it comes to fruition. Let's see. It's also stated that it could possibly take place in July. So let's see how this unfolds. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.